So people have been wondering where I've been for the past couple of days. I just decided to take a little vacation, get away, relax. And in my experience, I don't have nearly as many problems in real life as I do on the internet because the social fascism in real life is a little more subtle. And while people are still typically social fascists, they do so in a more articulated and, smaller manner. I mean, it's still social fascism. It's always going to be in Western society, but it's different on the internet. It's a lot more blunt because it can afford to be more blunt. What I want to talk about here is how, in a lot of ways, the moderator position of people like Mark Anthony and shit remind me of the abortion position. Now, you all know that I don't really care about abortion in the typical sense because I know 3 out of every 4 people is probably going to support moderators anyway, so if they're aborted, good. But the fact is, and I'm just using abortion as an example, you could come up with any example in your mind, that you really are not allowed to deviate from the norm of what the position is supposed to be. And you're only confined to selected, controlled opposition towards an anti-abortion stance. For example, when you say that abortion is murder, that's a pretty loud exclamation point. To say something is murder, and you're going to tell me that it's supposed to be legal no matter what, even if it is murder. That's a large stance to take. That takes a lot of guts, and that takes a lot of effort to suggest that, yeah, you have the right to murder without any regulation, without any sort of taxation or representation. There's just no questions asked. You have the right to murder. Now, a lot of people are going to leave a comment in the comment section, abortion isn't murder. Well, that's what you're saying, but your opposition is saying that it is. It can't be both. It either has to be murder or it's not. Your argument for it's not murder is because a fetus is not a person. Only people can be murdered. Well, animals can be murdered. Pretty much any living organism can be murdered. So the argument then becomes, well, a fetus is not of the magnitude of a living organism that would suffice to consider it murder. Which, I'm not going to argue with you that point. I would say the same thing. Unfortunately, a fetus is the only thing that can become a person. A pig will never become a person. A germ will never become a person. Nothing else will ever become a human being besides the fetus. The fetus is just the preemptive stage of a human being. So, regardless of where you stand on it, you are in fact killing a human being because you are preventing it from becoming a human being. And you just stick by the stance. No questions asked. Can't illegalize abortion, ever. And even if they minimally try to illegalize it, like let's say, okay, we're going to raise a sin tax on abortion, or we're going to only leave abortion legal for rape victims and people of incest, blah 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 blah, and the people freak the fuck out. They freak the fuck out and say, oh my god, this is an attack against women. Oh my god, we're going back to the 1920s. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And all this, energy, all this hoopla and freaking out and panic over a fucking little regulation. Over a regulation over murder. But yet, on the same token, we're not allowed to talk about dueling, for example. You know how many crimes could be prevented if we re-legalize dueling? Where if people want to fucking kill one another, do so in a regulated and safe environment for them to do so. That sounds a lot like abortion, doesn't it? It sounds like abortion in the sense that you prevent more violence and you prevent more death by letting something be legal in an environment where it can be legal, in an environment where they can get out all that evil inside of them in a way that minimally hurts other individuals. But no, can't have that discussion. There will never come a time when you can legitimately say, yes, we should re-legalize dueling, and people could theoretically duel to the death. But meanwhile, we have abortion, and it's making all the same arguments. because that's the hegemony you live in. That's where you either have to be pro-choice or pro-life, and that's it. No questions asked. There is no debate. There is only you are this or you are just out of your mind. So that's what it's like living in Western society, and that is obvious when you're on the internet, where it's more saturated. The internet is just a reflection of what's going on inside the minds of Western people, except all the more so, all the more extreme, because there are no limitations. There's no limitations to the mortal body. There's no limitations to a government surveillancing and taking control. There's no limitations to, time and space and, physical limitations. So that's what you get. The internet is the will of the Western mentality. And the will of the Western mentality is wrong and hateful and stupid and mean-spirited and destructive. So I'm not saying here whether or not abortion is an issue. I'm just saying here that this is what you get when you ascribe to Western mentality. That, you can't really have an alternate opinion, let alone be able to freely exist in this state of being. Yeah, you are always threatened, you are always humiliated, you are always degraded, and that's what I'm fighting against. It's not so much I give a shit that someone doesn't want me at their forum. It's the idea of what right do they have to do that to me? What right do they have as an individual to take away my right to freedom of speech, to take away what I bought with my own money, like a video game, for example, to, just strip me of my dignity and self-respect because they own some fucking property. I mean, the same argument is made for abortion, that we have the right to murder our own children because they exist inside of our body of no will of their own. It's not like they chose to be there to begin with. That's how people are born. That's the way the biological process works. But because it comes into conflict with the sense of self-ownership, all of a sudden we have the right to kill our own young in order to preserve this right of ownership, this right to capital. Once again, capitalism is to blame. It is the source of all these problems. That's why I'm a communist. Because even if we were to do something about the abortion issue or the moderator issue or any issue, it'll always come back to capitalism. Capitalism will find some way to fuck everything up again and again and again. So there's really no point in, just saying, oh, it's the issue. No, the issue is the symptom. The disease is capitalism. It always has been. Capitalism has justified every single inhumane act throughout history. The reason Indians were slaughtered to form America was because of capitalism. The reason every major war was started was because of capitalism. The reason people get shot every day in the inner cities is because of fucking capitalism. It's always capitalism. It's different. Every situation is different. But the end result is because of the need for more money, more accumulation of goods and services, more ownership of the means of production, and things like that. So, that's what I'm getting at here. And, I wanted to make more points, but I'm kind of running out of time. Where, the fact is, you can't live like this. You can't live like this where, you have to tippy-toe around every single situation. Where, because if you offend somebody, because they own the means of production, they can eject you, they can ban you, and then you're fucked. Now you have to find somewhere else to go, and then somewhere else, and then somewhere else. It doesn't matter if there is a billion places to go. The fact is, you should not have to make that extra effort. There is no reason for you to do it in the first place. The fact is, it doesn't matter how offensive I am. It doesn't matter how mean I am. Nobody has the right to use that kind of excessive force against me. Period. There is no reason for moderators to exist. And until you can give a legitimate reason as to why, I'm not going to back down on the issue. And the fact is, if we all acted like this, if we treated our right to sovereignty and to be free on the internet the same way we do abortion, it would have already been legal yesterday. We would have already been rid of the moderator threat the day before. But, that's Western society for you. You are a fucking fascist.